Hello, hello. Welcome, YouTube. All right. Let's bring our friends on Instagram. If I can get this situated. I don't know how do I always do this? I think that's good. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this. Let me pull my notes as we're waiting for Instagram to join us. Welcome, clutter-free family to the Clarity Hotline. Come in and join me. I'm excited to answer any questions that come on live today, by the way. So please, you know, chime in on the conversation today, please, because we got a lot to talk about. Quite a few questions came in. I narrowed them down to, well, 5, and they're about time management. Last week, I asked everybody who was watching for a time management question. And thank you, by the way, for submitting those. And can I just turn this a little bit without ruining everything? No, I can't. Okay, we're just going to leave it like that. And so thank you. Thanks to everybody who submitted a question about time management. I really wanted to get down to, what is the just the nagging question that you have about time management? Like, how do I manage my time better? What is, how do I get more done? Or these are the questions I was thinking would come in. Why does it feel like I never have enough time to do all the things I have to do? That there was a question like that came in, and I just narrowed them down to kind of the catch-alls. I think there's some overlap, but I did my best to narrow them into 5 kind of separate ideas, and so we'll go into those time management questions. And there was a money question from last week, and we'll see. We'll see if we have time. If not, we can do a whole money conversation in the following week. Okay. So bear with me. We'll do what we can. Okay. So big breath in, big breath out, big breath in, big breath out. And there's literally like this inhaling of like newness and new life and new possibilities. And then the exhaling of tension and stress, and to ultimately get to that sense of relief, because that's what we want, right? When we're thinking about taking a big inhale, like an exhale, I can finally exhale. There's a relief, right? A sense of relief. And that's a sense of release from like the responsibility, the heavy burden that you maybe felt before that, before you took that deliberate breath to clear all that away, to clear all the unknown away, and the worry and the panic and the fear, right? That might lead to us having those moments of anxiety. And it literally is just kind of thinking your way through the anxiety to a more empowering thought, and then watching what the body can do with that, right? Watching the body kind of like, oh, I subscribe to this. Let's do that. I like that. And so in that way, the mind is commanding the body to follow suit and to bring it along. And the more we don't pause and take a breath, the more we live in kind of that rapid heart rate of like fight or flight and go, go, go and do, then the less we're able to kind of recalibrate and assess, hey, body, you good? You with me on this? Are we on the same page? Or do you feel like you're just fighting for your life? Because here's what I believe. And then the body gets to listen and say, okay, all right, yeah, I can see that. And let's follow that vision through. And you know, that's what we want. That's ultimately what we want, is to have every part of ourselves, every inch of ourselves on the same page, moving toward the same goal. So there is no dissension, there is no tension, there is no contention, there is no fight and battle within ourselves, because we trust ourselves. We're moving through, life on the same page, on one accord, and we're being we're being in this, right? We want to uh um I guess I feel it like it's kind of like synergy when all parts of you are on the same page. There's so much synergy that can happen. There's so much like $1 million ideas that can happen. There's so much joy, peace, love that can happen because you're not fighting with yourself about like, well, we should go this way and what's that? And all this discord that causes all the grief and the battling and the torment from within, right? Hi, Marissa. Thanks for coming on. Ask me anything today. We have some questions about time management, and I just wanted to throw that out there. If you have any questions about time management, I'm going to answer them live. The questions that came on today or came on for today. Why can't I ever seem to get everything done? How do I find time for myself as a mom? Why do I feel busy all day but accomplish so little? How can I stop feeling overwhelmed by everything I have to do? And how do I balance motherhood, work, and my own goals? So it's a lot. It's a lot. And yeah, we're gonna kind of like answer them all. I actually did a masterclass on Tuesday on this very topic about time management, especially for solopreneurs, single moms, mompreneurs, just the busy minded, the people juggling a lot, right? A lot of responsibilities, a lot of time sensitive uh, responsibilities, I would say for sure. That's how it feels sometimes. Very time sensitive, everything's urgent, everything feels like an emergency. And so we just want to make sure that we're pausing and we're taking notice, like, hey body, how you doing? Did I spend some time with you today? Did I pause and reflect? Am I making sure that like what I'm doing today actually matters, actually moves the needle and moves me forward toward my goals, toward the vision that I have for my life? If it's a hell yes, then you're on the right path. And if there's a hell yes, that's a full body yes. In order to embody a yes, to feel a yes, like that is everybody's on board. Every part of you, your heart, your brain, your body, your arms, your limbs, your legs, your feet, everything is on board moving you in that direction of like, yes, let's do this. All the chakras are aligned. And so I love that idea because whenever we're feeling out of balance, like, oh, I can't really catch my breath, or I don't really have it all together. I'm feeling really scattered. I'm all over the place, and my heart's not really into this, and I'm feeling depleted and maybe just kind of desperate for change and right all that's kind of going on, then something's out of alignment, right? Something that you're going after or what you're doing is pulling you out of alignment. And when we pause, when we take a look within and we say, okay, what is that? What is that dissension? What am I feeling here that's uncomfortable, and what is it telling me? You'll get the answer. And the thing is we don't do it enough. But when it comes to time management, we feel like it's always a time management thing. And I'll speak for myself as a mompreneur myself. Um, I know that I had like plenty of time, plenty of space on my schedule before kids as an entrepreneur, right? I could like make the appointments, take the calls, book my schedule up with all the client calls and the coaching calls, and things were all good. And there was like time before and after to like, do what I want. We have a guest here today, by the way. If you hear my dog, or my mom's dog, I'm dog sitting, I guess, if you will. And she's with me. So she's a heavy panter. I'll bring her on if she comes closer. I can pull her on to the camera so you guys can see her, Bella. Anywho, so anyway, so this idea of time, right? It's like, oh, when we know time is just an illusion, time is a mental construct, it's not real. Here you are. Let's say hi to everybody. She knows. She's a heavy one. She knows that time is an illusion. She knows that things aren't real unless you believe it's real. Thanks, Bella, for coming on, for being with me today, giving me my mojo. Just kidding. She's just here for moral support. She is really cute. She's a Havanese. She's really cute. She's 13 years old, so she's seen some things. She has had a life. But yeah, she's really, really sweet. Really, really sweet. So she's with me today. We're doing the Clarity Hotline together. I'm gonna ask her for advice. So if you guys need, like, if you're a dog whisperer and you have some things that you want to ask her, she's full of wisdom. But yeah, when it comes to time, it's like, okay, it's just a mental construct. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Time is just a mental construct. I mean, because I mean it is. What are hours in a day? What are the hands on a clock even mean, right? Unless we're all on the same page and until you even learn that, oh, this is a clock that measures time, that tells us how where we are in our day and moves us through from dawn to dusk. And this is when you, well, obviously, I think it started, or we know it started with this whole idea of like sunrise, sunset, and you get all the work done that you need within the daytime, and then you sleep at night because everybody else sleeps at night. Nature, like flowers close, and nature closes and slows down, and it's like the peaceful time for all of us to get rest. And then we're back up and at 'em, the rooster crows, and it's like, okay, we're back in business, let's do this. And then the clock started to build itself around that. And then we started to cram all of these to-do lists into that time. And then it got really out of hand. And we just started to ramp up on the responsibilities and the requirements and the demands on our time and on ourselves and the expectations that we had. And not only our own expectations, but those of others, right? That we feel that they expect of us, especially in motherhood, right? There's so much that we feel like from our partner, from our kids, from I guess our lineage, right? The mothers before us, the matriarchy, all through the line. It's like we have kind of these unspoken demands that we place on ourselves. And we're really not sure where it comes from until we look at it and say, oh, I see that came from that place. And oh, that's why I do that. I remember like buying Tide in my own house on my own, buying Tide and thinking, why am I buying Tide? Just because it's what I grew up with and that's what my mom bought, and I saw all the commercials about Tide, and like it was just drilled into our brains. Tide was the answer for clean clothes in your laundry. And it's like I don't use Tide anymore. Right now we know that there are other things, and yes, it's all marketing. But it's like marketing resonates on some level because we are emotionally drawn to purchase things, right? So we have this emotional draw to put our money down, and we're tied um to what it might do for us, right? Emotionally, physically, mentally, status, why everything. We're tied to that. And we want to know that if I'm buying this, it's going to move me forward. I'm going to get somewhere with this. I'm going to get clean clothes. And then now I'm like, I'm going to get clean clothes without the trash, without the yucky stuff, right? Sticking onto my clothes and leaching onto my clothes. And we only know so much. We only know what they advertise and what they write on the print on the box and write on the label. We don't really know for sure until we start looking at it. And I was looking at the nutrition facts the other day of something, and I read monoglycerides. And I was like, monoglycerides, what is that? And I know people who are in health know all about this, but for me, it was my first time like looking at this and thinking, what is that? And I had to, of course, Google it and figure it out. What is all this? And I think as you start to stack these up in the food that you eat, the ultra processed foods, that was verbatim from Google, the ultra processed foods tend to have these things. And that's why nutritionists will say, like, eat healthy whole food, like whole prepared at home kind of food, as much as possible, because the ultra processed foods, when you start stacking that up, these little like binding agents that make things that wouldn't normally exist in nature happen. The GMOs, for instance, um, they're doing things to make maybe the consistency and the texture of foods more enjoyable, whatever, chewier, tastier, like in baked goods and things like that. And so they're putting that stuff in to like make this food. And if if there's sugar, then people become addicted to the sugar aspect of it, and that kind of craving starts to happen, and that's the cure for it, is this candy or this baked good, this ultra processed food. And then the monoglycerides just start adding up. And it's like, well, what is that doing inside of us, this like abnormal thing that doesn't exist in nature? What are we doing with it in our bodies? And I don't know, but do we know until it's like we're on in the doctor's office on the table, like being looked at, like, oh, this is why the disease that you're facing is happening? I know it's very existential, but I'm just curious if anybody else is like wondering about monoglycerides. But okay, let's get back to time management. Where was I even going with that? I thought that there was a tie-in. Um, okay, so back to time management. Oh yeah, this time's a mental construct, and all I think ultimately what we want is we just want to find the time for the things that matter, right? And when it feels like, oh, we don't have time, then that feels like we're not controlling our time. We're not in charge of our time. We're letting time kind of run away from us, and we're not in charge of our lives. And so to me, it's just a nice little awareness, like just to look at the clock and say, okay, it's just some awareness around what am I doing? How am I feeling? What's the rest of my day look like? What do I get to do today? Like pick up my kids from summer camp, things like that. It's just some awareness, and it's a collective awareness because we've all agreed that it's 12 noon somewhere, right? We've all agreed it's this time. And at this time, banks are closed. At this time, uh, coffee shops open up in the mornings. You kind of like start to build your routine around these things. Lunchtime. Okay, it's lunchtime. Everybody's leaving their desk and going to lunch somewhere. I remember like being in the corporate world and it was like, oh man, everyone was counting down. Like, what are you gonna do for lunch? What are you gonna do for lunch? And then you'd all meet up. Whoever wanted to go, whichever place will like go join that group. And it's kind of fun when you think about it. Like, go, but it was never fun to just be like capped at an hour, like be looking at the time and have to scarf down your food because maybe it took too long. I remember going to this one deli that was super popular and ordering something and feeling like we're really pressed for time because we got to get back and there's the commute involved. Like we don't really have time to just sit and chat. Our chat was like in line ordering this thing and then at the table waiting for it. That part was never fun. Anyway, so let's get to time management. How do we find the time, right? So let's look at the questions. Why can't I ever seem to get everything done? And then you're immediately going to probably think, oh, it's a productivity problem. You have too many priorities competing at once. Okay, for sure. How do I find time for myself as a mom? Because there's not ample, especially when you're a new mom, ample time for you, unless you're really doing away with a lot of the other stuff and you're delegating it to other people who can cook for you and clean for you, and you get to nap when baby naps, and you get to shower and take a bath and just rest, right? And take just a slow down period in your day instead of, for me it was nursing and pumping, and nurse is honestly, it felt like nursing and pumping, and that was really all I had time for, and I would just be on the couch doing that. It's a glorious time because it forces you to slow down, though. It forces you to like sit down. You just had a baby, so obviously giving into that. But then as things start to pick up and you start to feel like, oh well, all this stuff still has to get done around the house, and I'm nesting. I'm making a home for this baby, my family. I don't want that to completely fall apart. Then it's like, wow, where does time for yourself fit in? The other question, why do I feel busy all day but accomplish so little? So that to me is just a sign of being busy, doing things that you're not really putting any thought behind. You're just going because that's what you did all the time. And you're going to just continue to do that until you stop, look, listen. Like I tell my kids when we're crossing the street every single time, stop, look, listen, which I learned from my mother-in-law because I was just saying stop and look, but listen too. Like listen, be aware of, what's around you. It maybe you don't see it, but you can hear a car coming and you're like, where is that? Or a siren, right? And it's going to come eventually out of nowhere. So pause. But being busy is not productive. Being busy, I personally teach meaningful productivity because there is like a focus that can happen in your day that can really steer the whole day the right way. Right? When you have a focus, the single most important thing to do in your business or just in your life in your home, uh, then kind of like how that carries the weight of the day. And then it leaves you some pockets of time to take a break and to pause and not to feel so rushed. But being busy just because that's what feels more comfortable to you, to fill your day with all the things because that's what you always did, that's what you always done, because to sit down feels unproductive or to rest feels unproductive. I know I know in dealing with marriage and raising kids and all the things that have to happen with raising kids, like um, laundry and dishes. And I feel like a broken record, but this is literally this is the record. This is on repeat. Hi, Annie. This is on repeat, right? Ask me anything today. We're talking time management, by the way. But so, like, all the stuff that has to get done, and the minute somebody takes a break in your world, like your partner, so for me, it was my husband at the time. It was like when he would take a break, I'd have to be like, "Well, okay, why are you taking a break? I like there's still so much stuff to do. Like, why are you sitting down and I haven't even sat down all day?" And then you have to have the conversation like, "Hold on. Let's distribute some labor here. First of all, why do I feel like the onus is on me to do all the dishes and all the laundry?" And it was literally just a conversation that just we hadn't had yet. Like, okay, I'm not able to keep up with all this. If you have time, can you come in and step in on this? Sure, sure. Yes. And it was such a load off to like, whoa, just communicate about what I need. I know at first requires that we know what we need as mothers, and a lot of mothers are afraid to ask, let alone think about what they need help with. They're afraid to ask for help. And many times I'll be sitting with clients and I'll hear the same things that I felt before I asked for help. And it's like, okay, why do we do this to ourselves? Why are we putting ourselves like we're stuck in the position of like doing it all ourselves because like that makes us feel like we're, I don't know, pulling our weight, we're we're worthy of something. I don't know. But it definitely is like a worth issue. It's a self-worth issue to think that you have to carry it all yourself versus asking for help, right? And the minute you have the conversation, because I know it's kind of scary, it's kind of worrisome to be like, oh, asking for help, and who am I going to ask? And are they going to do it well? And then I got to watch and see like the laundry not get folded the right way and put away the right way. And then I got to find it later. And then you're walking yourself through all the problems instead of just sitting down and saying, "Hey, what do you like? How do you like to do it? Let's yeah, okay. Okay. So it is like an idea of pulling our weight. And it's like we do so much that you're definitely pulling your weight. We're all doing our we're pulling our weight, especially when you're a stay-at-home mom. And I feel like I don't do enough at times. Yeah, I think so that is yeah, I think a lot of that, so one, it's a self-worth issue, but it's also like what we've been taught. Because I grew up my mom doing everything. My dad would come in and cook and clean on the weekends, like, but he'd do like the heavy stuff, like outside, pull in, we'd be helping him pull weeds and stuff. But on a regular basis, my mom was in the kitchen cleaning, and she was the one doing laundry for sure. She didn't let us do laundry for a really long time. And I think that just carried over into like what we think a household should look like and what we think the distribution of labor should look like until we're in our own household and we're saying to ourselves, oh, wait. No, this is how I actually want to live. And so this idea of equal distribution of labor has become a buzzword, as does like the mental load of motherhood, because we're carrying so much more than it looks like. Like we're anticipating the next thing for our kids. We're anticipating the next doctor appointment. Especially when enrolling for school, you need all that stuff to enroll them into school, all the paperwork, all the document, all the applications. And there's so much paperwork to keep on top of. And the dates at school and when spring break, when summer break, and what are we going to do? And so until you start asking for help, it's like a mental load because you're the one clocking all that instead of asking for help and distributing it out. Hi, Leah. And so that's really, I think that's really, really important because it's just a matter of like pausing, thinking about, okay, where am I at? I know this is how my mom did it. I know this is how my grandma did it. I know this is how everybody else and they mama did it. But what about like how I want to do it? And it starts to get uncomfortable because then we have to have the conversations with our significant other or with our family, with our villages, and say, I know this sounds weird, but do you want if you want to hang out with me, like I was thinking about with a girlfriend of mine, I wanted to talk to her, I wanted to see her, and I wanted to hang out. um but I mean, I had to do laundry, I had to fold, and I was like, I can't let this go on. So if you want to come over and sit with me while I do laundry, like we can make this happen, because I can't just neglect all the other responsibilities just because I want to like chat with you and see what's up and catch up. Like I need to be able to, especially in the early days of motherhood when it is a lot and they're home 24/7 and you're on 24/7, even through the nights because you're nursing or whatever, or they're up. And yeah, and it's like, even though I do it all though, I know. So we have that's more of a control issue for sure. Which part, Marissa? And then D, even though I'm doing it all, yeah, I'm sure you are. I'm sure so much of us women are doing a lot and we're not taking the credit for it. I think it feels like, oh, that would be selfish to take credit for that. And what does it even matter? Like, I care for my family. Like, I love my kids and I want them to be at their best and have, be set up for success and have a leg up in the world because their mother was present with them and loved on them and provided for them and made healthy home cooked meals for them and talked to them and was sat with them and helped with homework and all those things. Like we know, right? That's the crux of like what matters in their childhood and what makes a difference in their lives and for their future. Like we know that this is the time is precious, right? Especially when they're little, because at some point they start to tune us out. But I think they're really listening still. D, I know they're listening to us still, even as they're older, and they'll still call home for advice, right? As after they fly the coop. But yeah, it's not I don't know who put the memo out that we needed to like get credit. And I think it's because everybody back in the day was just doing their thing and nobody was probably saying thank you because everyone just had a job and they just did what they did. But when you're feeling like it's unequal distribution of labor, like, yeah, your man is laying on the couch when you've been up all day and you haven't even sat down all day and you're grinding, because not only are you grinding, and if you're an entrepreneur, you're also running a business and a household. So it's a lot. And you're doing all those things. And a lot of it is, yeah, unspoken and mental and in your head and in your heart. And there, nobody's acknowledging the weight of that. And when you do something great, it is nice to have a witness to it and to feel appreciated in it. Like you're not alone. Like, oh, wow, that did matter, right? That did make a difference. And my child is better off because I was here to do it. I think that is just a complete reason. That right there in a nutshell is why we need our self-care. That's why we need our self-care. And um, I remember the moment I decided that if he's gonna rest, I'm gonna rest. Like I'm gonna rest. I don't see why would I begrudge him resting? The only reason I'm judging his rest is because I'm judging my rest. But wait, rest is good and we need it. And I noticed the minute I started, like, yeah, choosing rest instead of doing the dishes, instead of doing laundry, because I was doing a lot. I was doing a lot in my business. I was doing a lot with the kids. And I was like, oh, well, then I'm going to choose rest too. And I'm not going to unapologetically too. I'm not going to say sorry for it. Like this, I'm doing that. Then you start to see like where the stacks are, right? Like what's really going on. And it took that for the shift to be like, oh, wow, there's sisters in the same. Okay, well then, you can do it. Whoever has time to do it should do it. Whoever can fold the clothes, let's do it. Like if it's sitting on the couch, let's have whoever has the time, do it. Whoever feels like, I don't know, the energy to fold the clothes, do it. And it felt so much more. Yeah, rest is productive. It's oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm literally folding laundry right now. I feel like I would be folding laundry too if I had a load. I don't have a load. I know I have to do a load, but like, yeah, I should be folding laundry on these calls. Um, I love that you're doing that and you're making the most of your time. I was talking to actually another client the other day about like how productive we can be when we're doing dishes, when we're like folding clothes, especially as business owners. In her case, she was a business owner starting her business. And it's like so much of that time can be spent dreaming up things or thinking through things. Like instead of folding clothes, and this is where this is a time and energy zap right here, okay? Instead of folding clothes and doing things that drain your energy in your thoughts, think of things that give you energy, right? The only reason we ever burn out is because we're depleting our energy with our thoughts. Our thinking is burning us out. Like the resentment we hold, the drama that we run through in our heads about like, oh, as I'm folding laundry and you're just hating every second of it. I loved when I had a nanny doing my laundry. It was like the light of the world. It was just I had there was so much lightness to not have to do laundry. And she folded amazing. And she's a grandma herself. And so when we had her, it was like, oh man, she folds even better than me, right? And there was never, I mean, their dad does fold really fine. He's military trained, so his folding's fine. So we never had an issue there. But I just she knew what drawers things went in, and because I taught her, right, and she's getting paid, so she took the time to listen. And when you take the time to listen, then everybody's on the same page and we're on one accord, and we've agreed that this is the drawer, this is his drawer, this is the other one's drawer, and this is the underwear drawer, and this is the sock drawer, and this is the pajama drawer. Like just that took all of what 2 seconds to explain, and now we're all on the same page, and now you can help me do laundry. But anyway, while we're like doing laundry and we're thinking about, oh, I hate doing this, why am I the only one that does this? Look at your energy just totally being robbed from you. And then not only that, what if you've got something to do after you do laundry? You've got a job to get to. Maybe you've got a call to get on. Maybe you have a client that you're going to take next. Whatever you're doing, or you're going to go pick up the kids, or your significant other's coming home, and you're in this state of complete denial that you, one, do this job because you love it, right? We love being mothers. We love being parents. We're in denial of like our own selves. We're denying ourselves rest. We're denying like what our heart actually wants it, which is probably just, I want to go outside and clear my head and get a drink of water. I want to breathe and not feel like I'm going to like just lose it because I've had no time to myself. Then take the time to yourself, right? As you start doing all these tasks as if they're obligations, and you have no choice in the matter, that's the quickest way to rob your energy, and so then you have no energy for what comes next. So instead, think you start to envision and think your way through the rest of the day. So as you're folding, personally, I fold, and I just think it's the most magical time ever because I'm folding and I'm like in love with these little guys of mine, and their little clothes won't be little for long. And it's just like a time to like really connect with that. And so if that's what you choose to do is fold mindfully and like, wow, I am really in love with my sons. And I am in love with like their little, I love when he wears this, and like his little personality shines when he wears this shirt. And or I got to get new pants. These are completely destroyed, and stuff like that. Then that adds to the mental load, and then you have to like, okay, I have to go shopping. And then it's like, if you're letting that kind of run your day instead of deliberately saying nope, I'm enjoying this time, right? Or not no, but yes, I'm enjoying this time. I love my kids, I love their stuff, I love doing all this. This is absolutely a joy. And yes, I did sign up for this because I want them to have the best of the best. I want them to have all the opportunities in the world, and I want to witness it and be there too. And then they get to see that too, right? Not a burnt out mom, but a mom who's also doing that, also taking time out to live her dreams and do what excites her. and is not miserable doing these things. I remember seeing a reel of this girl who's like pretending to be every mom ever, and how there was always like this like this heavy sigh, this heaviness, right? Like, "Hey, I got to do everything. And she's moving around the house, like just taking the whole energy with her, like in the whole household, like just such a burden. There's so much to do and da, da, da. And it was like, yeah, absolutely. That is kind of this idea of, yeah, taking on too much, letting it weigh you down, and then you've got no energy for anybody else. So you've got no energy when you're going for pickups and you're going to get your kids and from school, and you're completely zapped of all your energy. You've been robbed of all your joy because you let your mind run wild with all the doomsday conversations and the inner dialogue of, I don't love this. Why am I doing this? Who else is helping me? Nobody's helping me. And yeah, it's very doomsday, right? Versus like the other idea of, okay, this is what I love to do. I'm only going to do what I can. And I am going to leave myself at least 5 minutes of like just nothing. And I'm going to go sit outside, sun on my face, hydrate, whatever. And then I'm going to do the next thing. And this is where time comes in, where we're being deliberate with our time and we're managing our time with more intention because we are setting aside a few minutes for ourselves. And so, yeah, why do I feel busy all day but accomplish so little? Because probably you feel like you've been robbed of everything that you want to do. There's no time for you, but that is absolutely something that we can control. Um, yeah, I know. So D says, I'm doing invoices and packing for my daughter's softball trip. Yeah, there's so much going on. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming on live. Ask me anything. We're particularly talking about all the time management questions that came in because last week I asked everybody for time management questions, and a lot came in, and I narrowed it down to five. Let me repeat them, but we're just going through kind of how ultimately time is energy. uh, Time is balancing the scales of everything that we think we have to do and making sure that we find the time for it all. And when we only work on what we have to do, then of course we're immediately neglecting what we want to do. And so, how much of your day is not what you actually want to do because you're just filling it with everything you have to do? The first thing there is just to change your verbiage, change your talk, your self talk, change the words you use, and that's I get to do. And imagine what that just does immediately in my whole cellular structure, like changes. I get to do this. I'm immediately like enlightened to all the ways that this is an absolute joy, and all the ways I'm living my absolute dream life, right? Despite what it looks like in the natural, despite maybe like whatever the bills stacking up, besides the car needing gas, or yeah, there's 3 loads of laundry on the couch that still needs to get done, right? You can start to see like if you just look at that as though those are the problems, what are other things? Yeah, I'm a taxi, I'm taking my kids to and from, and I'm literally like just drop, that's what I do all day. I'm just a carpool mom. I'm a soccer mom and just taking them to their practices, and I'm not doing anything for me. Then, yeah, then time does feel like it's just all the responsibilities and the obligations instead of you deliberately fitting in time and making what's non negotiable things that include taking care of you. So, yeah, how do I find time for myself as a mom? Yeah, you make the space, right? We make the space for the things that we want to do. And if things that it I think it really is, it boils down to priorities, right? Finding our priorities. There's really just three in any given moment, top three priorities, and this is what I'm going to focus on today. And everything else is going to just have to wait, and be get done tomorrow. Or if there's time today, or if there's someone else who can help me, I'm going to actually ask that this get done by them and not me. And see, that takes some awareness. That takes the breadth of your experience with doing it all and being like, no, I want different for myself. No, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I want to do things too that I love to do. And yes, business building is an absolute joy. I love serving my clients. I love being in my business. It's literally fuels me. And then I love being a mother. I love being with my boys. I absolutely love it. Does it get stressful? Does it feel like I'm at my wits' end sometimes? Yeah, because I know that that's when I'm just like driving too hard, or I'm putting too much on my plate, and I'm starting to feel like, oh, I'm trying to gasp for air. And then it's like, okay, hold on. Then I need to take in some air. That's all it means. It's not a judgment on myself. It's not a time to um, berate myself or make myself feel bad for having this moment of like, whoa, hold on, everything's catching up with me. My train is moving really fast, and I've got to slow down. That's a good thing. That's just literal awareness. And now, what you do with that awareness is the key. This is where time management comes in, because time management is, I'm sure you've heard it, self management. It's managing yourself and your desires and your goals and your dreams, and really everything that's on your plate, everything that's on your calendar, everything that you think has to get done today by you, only you. Um, and and honestly, it is a matter of getting really good at asking for help, so that you aren't doing everything yourself, and really putting everything last on the list that isn't health, health, wellness, and whatever else is your priority. If it's not on that priority list, like think about, does this have to get done today and by me? Or does this have to get done right now and by me? Like, can this be done when maybe I'm not in my most creative place? I particularly talk to creative moms, creator moms, moms who are building businesses, putting out their own messages, writing books, speaking on stages, putting out courses, being coaches. And so, yeah, it's the mental load is heavy just in your business alone, because you're thinking about all that you want to share with the world, right? How are you messenger in this lifetime? And what is the message that you want to share? And that's a heavy load, right? When you feel like, oh man, would make such an impact. How can I get it out and fast, because this feels so timely? That's a priority, right? And so that deserves time. And then everything else with making a home, and being there for your kids, and being present with them, and being patient with them, and knowing that they're doing their own developing too, and they've got their own mental load, and we're all just doing our best. And if you can make space for that to exist, those things to exist, like you both getting what you need, and that's just you as mother to your kids, like not only your significant other, like there's also that dynamic, right? Like, is everybody getting what they need in this scenario? And if not, then somebody's not asking. Somebody's not speaking up for what they need. Somebody doesn't know. Somebody doesn't have clarity around what it is that they would really like to change. And I really do believe like it is about being the change. And so that's why um I have time blindness and have trouble switching tasks. So I use alarms for everything. Oh yeah, for sure. Time blindness. That's interesting. I like that. Um I I wonder where you got that from. And I have trouble switching tasks, so I use alarms for everything. Me too. I absolutely am a big proponent of timers. If you've like used the Pomodoro technique, where it's like 20 or 25 like work, and then 5-minute break, and then again, and then for every hour you take a 10-minute break, and then you go again until like maybe 3 hours. I think 3 hours is kind of like tops. It's, move on to something else, completely change, maybe an hour of nothing. But yeah, anyway, that technique is really brilliant, because yeah, you are not letting things run on and on and on. And you are it what's the Parkinson's law, like the time you have for a project, you'll feel it. Um Because I think about like when I was in school, and if you got 2 weeks for a project, I definitely would be that one late waiting till the last minute. I might do a little bit at the front end and feel really inspired and probably go to the library and get some books on it. And then I would just like, nah, I'm not really into this. And maybe I'd be thinking about it a little bit, but not really, and probably more scared of it than not. And then I'd maybe in the last week um, start to try to do it. But ultimately, it was probably me last minute trying to catch up and finish it. I definitely in college, I was that person who wrote that paper, for the class you really didn't want to be in. You just had to take it. It was like you needed the credits. I'd be in the library like definitely 11 p.m. at night trying to work out why the printer's not printing. Yeah. And all the problems. But yeah, that was definitely me. But yeah, I love timers because one, I don't want things to just feel the time all the time that I have. I want to be aware of like, okay, this project doesn't need to be going this long, or I have other things to do in my day, so let's get on. So I'm a big fan of alarms. I absolutely agree. Um, I'm always juggling, never balancing. So I always feel off balance, and whatever is neglected is always a looming crisis. Okay, so we have a man in here talking about. Thanks for coming on, Reggie. Um, yeah, like so so it's not only a feminine thing. It's not only a mother thing. The dog is right here making a lot of noise, so just sorry about that. Maybe we can stop doing that. Thank you. Oh, good. You're doing great. You're doing great. Um, So let's even just look at that. I'm always juggling, never balancing. So we can change the narrative here immediately. Like, yes, I am working on finding balance. So just that alone, we can start to maybe give ourselves some grace and have some compassion for ourselves, and not say everything's wrong with how I'm approaching life. Whatever's neglected is always a looming crisis. And so this is just the nature of life, right? As adults, is this adulting? Like when we just have tons of things to do and not enough time to do it? Yeah, probably. But writing it down is a big thing. I love to write things down, get it out of my head and onto somewhere where, like, universe, can you take care of this? I don't want to do this. When I stepped into that knowing and that power of like, whoa, God's on my side, so I can create like some assistance here. I don't have to do all this myself, and some of this will actually get wrapped up without me having to be involved. Oh my gosh, and people will just become super resourceful around me and not need me as much. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. I love it. So this is like a case of, yeah, just feeling like you need to do everything, not asking for help, not assessing what really is the priority today. I love waking up. I love waking up and being like, okay, yes, I do know I have what I have to do. Drop the kids off, pick them up, eat, make lunch, whatever is the case. And so all of that stuff still gets to get done. But I can wake up and have some measure of like awareness within myself. Like, how am I feeling today? What am I inspired to do today? What do I feel like actually doing today? And sometimes it might be like, I feel like being on the couch today. I don't want to do any. There's actual literal days designated for just sitting on the couch all day and like cuddling up and doing nothing. Actually, yes, there should be. And it's not a holiday. It probably happens at least once a week. Oh, that's probably not true. Maybe once every 2 weeks, where it's just like, I just want a day of vegging and doing nothing, where at least, like, that's what I feel. And I think it's legitimate because, what do we do in the winter? What do bears do in the winter? They hibernate, right? All season. And it's not a bad thing. It's like, oh, that's just nature. Isn't nature cool? But then the minute we want to say, well, I just want to hibernate, then it's a problem, right? And then we label it something. Oh, she's depressed. Well, no, she probably just needs like to catch up on some sleep. She probably just needs to zone out and know that all the responsibilities that normally are hers is taken care of, and she could just rest her eyes and her mind. And the kids are fine and safe and taken care of and fed and healthy and happy and enjoying life and doing something super fun and playful, that gets them in, enjoying their childhood. Then, I'm all for it. I'm all for a veg day. Okay, so what are the other questions? How can I stop feeling overwhelmed by everything I have to do? And how do I balance everything? So these are the questions. Yeah, everybody's asking the same kind. We're all feeling the same kind of thing. We're not alone, and so that's a beautiful thing. And so because we're not alone, we're one in all of this. Like, we know that it's not just exclusive to me. I'm not the only one dealing with this. We're all dealing with some form of feeling overwhelmed by everything we have to do. And so, yeah, it does go back to like just how we're approaching it, how our brain is tasking ourselves and tasking the body with, okay, well, this has to get checked off, right? It's literally a to-do list, and and you're not successful until you've crossed all this off. When sometimes we just need a brain dump list with no judgment, just dump it all out, and then from there assess, like, okay, what feels like a priority, what feels urgent, what feels important, what really matters. And if we're talking like there's home versus career, two different kind of levels of importance. So that's for you to decide. And then what can't fit in today won't. And and allowing that this has to wait and saying that that's okay is, I think, just part of it. And not that we want like those things to loom over us and feel like a crisis or feel like things are falling through the cracks, because I know that's also a feeling and that's not a great feeling. We don't want to feel that either. But um, that's just perspective, right? That's perspective in the big picture. And until you take time to look at the big picture and acknowledge like how things are faring right now, how things are going in life, then you won't really know. You're just going to be you're going to keep plopping things on that to-do list as if it all has to get done today, and if it doesn't get done, it's a problem and it's your problem. And what does that mean for you, right? That you're just behind the times, you're underwater, you can't keep up, right? All the things that you continue to talk to yourself about. And maybe this is a soundtrack you heard from your parents growing up, and this was your childhood, right? Like this is your problem, you deal with it. And if you can't get this done, or forcing people forcing things on you to do that you didn't want to do, right? Happens all the time. um, until we kind of step into that ownership of like, well, hold on, now that I am paying my own bills, I'm in my own house under my own roof, like I get to call the shots on my time and how I roll, how I do life. And yeah, overwhelm is definitely something that we put on ourselves. It's not anything that anybody does to us. It's something that we do to ourselves. It's definitely mental clutter, and it's more mental clutter than it is a time issue, right? And the minute we're thinking that we lack time and we don't have enough time, then we're right into scarcity thinking. And so everything does feel like it's piling on top of us and holding us down because we're in lack. And that's a low vibration. Like, I don't have enough time. Well, the person who says, I don't have enough time, and the person who is making space and living a full life and having all the desires of her heart and doing all the things that she wants in the world, like they have the same number of hours in the day. They still have, and they're both, parents, they're both um, career people. They have jobs, or they have their own business, right? So you could get all across the board, everything's kind of the same, but one person might still think, oh, I don't have enough time. And that's just a mentality. That's a scarcity mentality versus the person who does see the glass is half full and I've got plenty of time. I've got plenty of time to handle that. And if not, then I'm going to ask God to help me with it. And I know that, I hope that didn't sound like trite, because it's absolutely true. Like, yes, we do pray. We do pray for help. We do ask God for help, but are we really giving it to God? When we pray, if we're praying over and over again for the same thing, then we haven't given it to God. We haven't let go and let God. And that is prayer. That is surrender, is to let go and let God. But if we're still holding on to it like it's for us to do, if we haven't delegated it out to say, God, universe, please take this off my plate, take the wheel, if you will, then we haven't really surrendered, right? And so, yeah, we are putting the onus on ourselves. We are taking it all on ourselves because we haven't let go of the things that we decided to let go of. We're still holding it. And that's heavy. And so that's a type of hoarding. That's a type of clinging. That's a type of not trusting that God's got your back. That's a type of not really giving in to like, hey, let me just operate in my strength and in my wisdom and focus on like what I know to be true, which is I can do this, right? I can do that. I can do this really well. I'm going to do these things. And this is what my day is going to consist of all the things I feel really strong in. And until I feel strong in the other things, I'm just not going to worry about them. I'm not going to let it zap energy from my day or make me feel bad about myself for not getting it done by some time, this deadline, this arbitrary deadline that who's putting that on you, who's putting that on us. Yeah, there are times when like laundry will sit for a couple days. If, especially as a single mom, like, well, laundry doesn't really sit, but I do have help from my mom. So I have like you find your village, right? You get help. But yeah, laundry will sit. If it's all on me, then it might sit and dishes might sit. And that is okay by me because I've got other things going on. I've got bigger fish to fry. I've got things that actually move the needle to do. And this is where I operate in like my CEO brain, not my mom brain where it feels super frazzled. Like I definitely take charge and I'm in the driver's seat on the things that really matter and that are important. And if it does feel like, okay, yeah, we need to go grocery shopping, then I want to put a spin on grocery shopping as like something to do either with my boys or by myself. And lately it's been with them. And so yeah, that's a whole thing. But because they're just running around and grabbing everything and throwing things in the cart. And it's also like it's kind of joyful, like to see like what they're into. And then it's also like good for us as a family to see what mommy ends up buying and what mommy says no to. Like, no, this is not healthy. Let's go here and get produce and like eat salads, things like that. Um, that's a lesson. And so this is time. This is quality time going grocery shopping. Like I'm not gonna shun this as something that I have to do. It's something I get to do. And if my boys are with me, then we get to do it together. And this is part of life. And these are core memories, going shopping with mom and I'll make it so. And it's all my attitude, right? And how I approach it so that grocery shopping doesn't have to feel like a drag. Yes, I know you got to deal with parking and you got to deal with the bags. And did you forget your bags? And did you have to pay for bags? And then how much are you getting? And do you need all this stuff? And where's it going to go? And there's no freezer space. I mean, and a number of things. I love how when I go to Costco and I'll need all the things, right, at Costco because I wait so long to go and I have to like stock up on all the stuff and they sell in bulk. So it's like, do you have enough room and do you really need this? And it's like, yes, because I'm not coming back to Costco. And then so you make room, right? There's case in point. Like we make it work. I always make it work in the freezer. It always has a place. So there's no problem here. But if I call it a problem, if I deem it a problem, if I label it a problem, then it's a problem, right? And then I recruit everybody in my household to make it a problem with me. Like that sucks. No, thank you. Like, no, we got this. We can do this. Nobody needs to complain about freezer space. We will figure it out. And if we don't have freezer space, then clearly we don't need to go to Costco. Because what is in the freezer? Let's eat it. Okay. Well, thanks for going on. I feel like I'm just going on and on. And so I'll end our hotline. Thanks for coming on. If you have more questions about time management, I did a masterclass about this very thing on Tuesday. So you'll see it on YouTube. Just go over to YouTube and you'll see the masterclass that was live on Tuesday this past week. And thanks for coming on. I think I got to all the notes, all the questions. And yeah, thanks for coming on. Peace, guys. I'm going to be over on YouTube for our after hours. So if you want to clock in with me there, feel free. I'm over on YouTube at Declutterist, same handle, and I'll see you there. We take it over there. Okay, bye. Okay, so YouTube. Just a few more minutes. We'll end here. Let's go back to those questions because there's so much, right? Why can't I ever seem to get everything done? How do I find time for myself as a mom? Why do I feel busy all day but accomplish so little? How can I stop feeling overwhelmed by everything I have to do? And how do I balance motherhood, work, and my goals? This is a big thing that came on a lot when I did the survey last year. So I don't know if you remember when I was doing a survey and I got a lot of responses from entrepreneur moms in particular, because that was like my target. I wanted to hear from entrepreneur moms. And and a big thing was the juggle, right? The juggling of business and babies. So we want to be present to it all. We want to be there for our kids, but we're over here having to like make a way, make income, bring in the revenue. And it's like, and a lot of them had 9 to 5s alongside their businesses. So they're 9 to 5ers, so had a job, and then they're coming home and trying to fit in work, right, for their passion and their purpose work. And it's like that's a big challenge, right? That's a big ask for one person, especially uh, on a given day. Because motherhood's unpredictable, so anything could be happening over here that's cannibalizing the time that you had slated for your business. um, and it could feel overwhelming because it's like, well, I have these coaching calls, I have clients today, I have to be available, I'm not going to cancel. And then same thing with your kids, sick day, no school's out that day, whatever, like you're going to be there for your kids, right? There you something, right? You figure out something, and when your back's to a wall, you figure it out. Well, um this was what came up. It was a lot of like, well, how do I do one without feeling like I'm failing at the other, right? I'm doing one well. I remember Shonda Rhimes saying this, like where she feels like she's excelling at being a mom, then she's not doing as well in her business, and then vice versa, not doing really great in her career, as we all know, and then maybe not feeling like the best mom because maybe she's had to take a lot of meetings and not available. She's on set all day. Then she's not with her kids, and then who's with her kids, and then is it feeling sufficient enough for what she wants for her kids, because she really wants to be the one there for her kids. And so it's this constant like battle, right? This inner turmoil. And so therefore, we're feeling like we're on this emotional roller coaster and we just can't ever just level out. Well, we actually can. We can level out because why can't I ever seem to get everything done, right? We'll pinpoint the issue there. It's like everything done. What's everything? How do I find time for myself as a mom? Well, you make the time, right? We want to find time for ourselves, find time for our business, find time for our kids. And we don't want to feel like either one is stealing from the other. Well, we make the time. And yeah, if that means, it doesn't always mean, and in fact, I found it not to be the case where you have to feel your time when they go to bed and that's only the time for work, because I'm personally too exhausted for that. So I'll work alongside my kids on the things that I can, and then I'll get help to watch them while I am on a call if they're home. And then when they're not home, right, I take full advantage of that to do what feels best and right and on purpose for me on that day in that time. And then why do I feel so busy all day but accomplish so little? That definitely is a perspective question, because busy is like a self-worth issue. If you're busying yourself, you definitely don't feel like you deserve a break. How can I stop feeling overwhelmed by everything I have to do? Overwhelmed definitely is mental clutter. As we said earlier, it's our it's our uh, it's our belief about this all has to get done and by me. I'm the one to do it. I'm the best one for this job, kind of thing. How do I balance anything? Balance dot dot dot. Um, this one was, how do I balance motherhood, work, and my own goals? Because we ultimately want equal time for it all, right? And it is about making intentional, momentarily, like those decisions, and that's decision fatigue immediately, right? We get burned out from that, making too many decisions. And so, really simplifying our schedule on a daily basis, simplifying everything that we put on our plate, simplifying what we think is expected of us, simplifying what we're demanding of our emotional, mental bandwidth. and our physical bandwidth, because I think our emotional and mental bandwidth definitely checks out faster than our physical bandwidth as mothers. I guess sooner than our physical, because you know mothers lift cars off babies. Okay, so we find the strength, we find the stamina, but doesn't mean we're not like emotionally and mentally just dead. You know, well, it is about like stepping back, making those intentional choices for yourself, and recognizing the season that you're in, because the season that you're in might mean more rest is necessary. Um, and a season for us isn't a whole winter season, let's say, because we've adapted our bodies as mentally equipped beings. We've got brains and cognition and consciousness that we don't necessarily see in our animal counterparts, but they very much do also subscribe to this idea of seasons. Like we said, some animals hibernate during winter, right? And then flowers, leaves fall off trees, and then they're barren, and then they come back, and it's like this beautiful like evolution and this cycle of like barren trees getting sprouts, and you see sprouts and you're like, man, you would have thought that that tree was dead, but no, like with ice covered all over it, like you wouldn't think that this could come back, but it absolutely does. It's nourishing the soil, all that fresh rainwater and snow melting slowly into the earth, and then all the worms and animals and the squirrels that and the gophers that burrow under and aerate and bring their food, and the food that they don't eat is carcass and compost into the soil, and then it's like, whoa, we've got this beautiful like bounty on this tree by summertime, and it's like, whoa, you never would have thought that this looked at the same, right, that this would look this way when you looked at it on a snowy day. And this is the same thing that happens with us, and the industrialized capitalistic society that we find ourselves in might have us believe that we're robots, and that we don't subscribe to the seasons, that we aren't naturally evolving and cyclical beings that kind of respond to nature in this way, and would just rather you like go, go, go and be this machine. But no, we're not. We're not machines. We're humans, and we're meant to embody this aspect of ourselves too, like to still also be human, and also like be enterprising, and calculating and devising plans and making a way and being creator in our lives. To That's immediately how to predict the future, is to create it. Like that's not just a quote, it's absolutely real. Like when we see our future, we see it, we believe it to be true. In fact, we've walked through it multiple times in our brains. Like I see it, I can close my eyes and I see myself, I don't know, I see myself in this particular place, this for this vacation that I want to have with my boys, and I see me there. I see us eating the best food. I see like a beautiful day. I see us having the best time. We're safe. We are laughing, right? I see it. I know it's going to happen, because what you believe you can achieve. And it absolutely works that way. In fact, that is a cycle in and of itself. And that is self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you think that you are completely out of control in your life, it's because you haven't seen what you are able to create. Like you aren't in the creator seat. You aren't taking full advantage of the fact that you are co-creating this life with God. Like that's why you're here, to co-create with God. God is not just some far out thing that is separate from you. In fact, God resides in us, like he's in our blood. And I say he because unfortunately that's the dominant pronoun, I guess, that it has that was given to God, but God is not man or female. Like it's she, God is both, and God is just energy. God is the divine. God is our creator, our source, right? For everything that we need, right? We come to God, And yeah, in that way, God is like our father. So I see the point of that. But God is also our mother, right? And so that, I mean, honestly, I could get teary-eyed thinking about like how God is both. And when we accept that and embody that, then we totally can tap in to this idea of managing our times is even easier because we know that um what we say goes, right? Like what we say goes in this lifetime. And it's not for everything to just be happening to us, like almost like it's attacking us, and we've got to fend for ourselves and we've got to defend ourselves and build up the walls so that we don't get torn down again, like build back up these walls so that we're not torn down and brought to our knees in despair um and anxiety and depression, like so we don't fall there again, right? But in fact, it's just literally thinking our way to a more empowering thought, so that we aren't feeling torn down. And then from there, like we said just at the start of this call, what like our mind is commanding the body is kind of like saying, "Hey, body, you up for this? Like, let's do this. Let's do this together. Like, I don't want to do anything if it's without you. Like, let's do this together. We're in this together." And immediately things start lightening up, taking shape, taking form, and the body's there and present for it, right? Because the mind was first aware and saw and is now present for it. I think I want to end there because I could go on a tangent. There's so much that I could say about time management. You'll see on the channel, there's also the smart time management tips for single moms and solopreneurs. You might want to check that out if you want to hear a little bit more about time management tips and really what works for me and what's worked for my clients. And honestly, truly, like change the game for yourself when it comes to feeling like you are in the driver's seat in this life and you get to, you know, choose the destination, not only that, but also like enjoy the journey, right? And make the turns and go the speed, go the distance, right? That's for you to decide. All right. That's a wrap. Thanks for coming on live. Peace. See you next week.